There was a time when 1 rupee was important enough to be printed on paper. Today, most people never see that note at all. So what happened? Did India kill the 1 rupee note, or did the economy quietly push it out? The 1 rupee note was never just another Indian note. Most Indian banknotes are issued by the Reserve Bank of India. But the 1 rupee note is different. It is issued by the government of India, and that is why it carries the signature of the Finance Secretary, not the RBI governor. RBI's current currency FAQ still states that 1 rupee notes issued by the government of India are legal tender. That makes the 1 rupee note one of the most unusual pieces in India's currency story. Small in value, yes, but historically, institutionally, and symbolically, very important. After independence, India began reshaping many visible symbols of statehood, and currency was one of them. RBI's own historical record notes that the government of India brought out the new design, Re-1 note in 1949. And from there, the 1 rupee note entered ordinary Indian life in a big way. This was not elite money. This was people's money. It moved through bus fares, tea stalls, school canteens, temple plates, village shops, and railway platforms. It was the kind of note that children received as pocket money and elders tucked into envelopes as blessings. If you wanted to understand daily life in India for decades, the 1 rupee note was part of that texture. Now comes the real turning point. The 1 rupee note did not disappear because India forgot it. It disappeared because 1 rupee stopped being worth enough to justify paper. As prices rose over the decades, the purchasing power of 1 rupee kept shrinking. A low-value paper note that changes hands constantly wears out fast. That means printing, replacing, transporting, and managing it becomes expensive relative to its value. This is the core logic behind what happened next. By November 1994, printing of the 1 rupee note was stopped, and the main reasons widely cited were the high cost of printing such a small denomination and the need to use printing capacity more efficiently. The later RBI announcement around reintroduction refers back to that stoppage. So the disappearance was not dramatic. No sudden funeral, no grand national announcement in public memory, just an economic decision. Paper at that value no longer made enough sense. So what replaced the 1 rupee note? Not another paper note, not digital payment. The real replacement was the 1 rupee coin. That shift was practical. Coins survive much longer than paper in rough daily circulation. They do not tear like notes. They handle heat, moisture, folding, and constant exchange better. And India already had a long, evolving tradition of 1 rupee coinage in the Republic era, documented in RBI's coin history pages. So India did not remove 1 rupee from the economy. It simply changed its physical form, from fragile paper to durable metal. And yet, people still remember the 1 rupee note more warmly than the 1 rupee coin. Why? Because the 1 rupee note was not just money, it had presence. A paper note feels ceremonial in a way a coin often does not. It could be folded carefully, placed inside a book, kept in a wallet pocket, offered in a temple, gifted in an envelope, saved by a child. That is why the 1 rupee note belongs not only to monetary history, but also to social memory. For older generations especially, it stood for a time when even a tiny amount of money carried visible dignity. Its disappearance quietly announced that India's price world had changed. Now here is the part many people get wrong. The 1 rupee note did not vanish forever. RBI announced in 2017 that the government of India had printed fresh 1 rupee notes and that these notes would be put into circulation. The RBI press release clearly says these notes are legal tender, and that the existing notes in that denomination would also continue to remain legal tender. And RBI's 2025 currency FAQ still confirms that 1 rupee notes issued by the government of India are legal tender in India. So the correct historical framing is this. The 1 rupee note was stopped in regular printing in 1994, largely disappeared from everyday use, was effectively replaced in daily life by the coin, and was later reintroduced in limited form. That makes the story more interesting than the myth. It was not abolished from memory. It was sidelined by practicality. If it came back, why do most people still never see it? Because legal tender does not always mean common circulation. A denomination can remain fully valid in law and still be rare in daily life. Once public behavior shifts toward coins for tiny denominations, that habit becomes self-reinforcing. Retailers expect coins. Customers expect coins. Cash drawers are organized around coins. Low-value paper notes struggle to reclaim their place. So even though the 1 rupee note remains valid, the 1 rupee coin remains the real face of 1 rupee in everyday India. This is why the 1 rupee note story matters. It is not just about currency design. It is about economic change. When a denomination loses purchasing power, the state has to rethink how that denomination should exist. Paper may no longer make sense. Metal may be better. Later, even physical exchange itself may shrink as digital systems grow. So the 1 rupee note tells us about inflation, printing economics, administrative efficiency, public habit, and changing ideas of value. A tiny note became a witness to a much larger transformation. The journey of India from a lower-price cash economy into a different age of value, cost, and exchange. That is why the 1 rupee note still has a strange power in memory. It reminds people of a slower India, a tactile India, a country where even the smallest note had a visible place in daily ritual. It may have become rare. It may have been replaced in the pocket by metal, but in memory, the 1 rupee note is still larger than its denomination. Because history is like that. Sometimes the smallest objects reveal the biggest changes. So the 1 rupee note did not simply die. It was pushed out by economics, replaced by the coin, and remembered long after it left everyday life. If you've ever seen one, held one, or received one in an envelope or temple offering, then you've touched a tiny piece of India's economic history. Subscribe to channel for more amazing Indian stories.